Hello everyone, I'm Emily Powell, an energy healing practitioner and functional trainer, and this video is about EFT tapping, emotional freedom technique, and specifically about the research that has been done about it. So I am a mixed modality energy worker, and I do a variety of different modalities to help people clear their blocks, baggage, and trauma so they can move forward into their empowered, awesome self and becoming a conscious creator of their life. And EFT tapping is one of my favorite modalities because it is simple to learn and understand, but it addresses all the different layers of our system: mental, emotional, physical, and energetic or spiritual, which not all modalities do. And anyone can do it. You can do it any place, anytime. It's really, really, really awesome. I'm a big fan. I love to talk about it. And today we're going to talk about research about how awesome it is. So a lot of modalities have not been researched, even though they are very effective. EFT tapping has a lot of studies, hundreds and hundreds of studies, which is exciting. Today we're going to talk about 11. Okay, let's get into it. So we're on website for today's video. For anyone who wants to go read about it yourself and look it up and look into the resources or into each of the studies, I want to keep it really simple. So this is all found on one website. Let me pull it up. It'll also be in the description below, so you can easily go click on the link. This is ncbi.nlm.nih.gov. So this website right here is a study published in the National Library of Medicine. This study is called Clinical EFT, Emotional Freedom Techniques, Improve Multiple Physiological Markers of Health. All of the studies that I'll mention in the video are referenced here in this study as well. For more information about a tutorial, how to learn EFT tapping yourself, as well as other research and other testimonials and other information about it, including my group EFT tapping time, which you can join for just a few bucks, you can check out the description below. Okay, so what is EFT tapping? Emotional freedom technique. I like how this study described it. EFT tapping is a brief intervention combining elements of exposure, cognitive therapy, and somatic stimulation of acupressure points on the face and upper body. Participants usually identify a concern or an issue that they wish to address. They rate it on a scale of 0 to 10, and they begin using the acupressure points. There's 8 total in the simplified EFT tapping method. They tap through these points while telling their body what it is that they'd like it to clear and what they'd like it to improve and address. After doing tapping, they pause, breathe, and assess again on a scale of 0 to 10. And if there's anything left, then they continue and keep going. That is the very simplified version. And okay, we're going to talk a few more points about EFT tapping mentioned in this study. It research-wise has researched for a lot of different things, researched and found to be helpful for a lot of things, including fibromyalgia, psoriasis, tension headaches, frozen shoulder, pulmonary injuries, chronic pain, chemotherapy side effects, traumatic brain injury, insomnia, seizure disorders, cravings, high cortisol levels, so stress, cancer, epigenetics, how your epigenetics are showing up, as well as psychological trauma, phobias, anxiety, depression, PTSD. Okay, so there's research, lots of research on how EFT tapping affects all these things. And who has been studied in all of these research studies? A lot of people, all ages, all situations. Diabetics, gifted students, chemotherapy patients, veterans, war veterans, victims of sexual violence, school children, college students, teachers, healthcare workers, pre-surgery patients, mothers, dental patients, psychotherapists, survivors of natural disasters, pain patients, overweight individuals, and phobia sufferers. So all ages, all different kinds of people. And what has been found is that there are good results. It is scientifically proven and significant that EFT tapping is very, very helpful. In fact, the dose of how much to do it to get a result can be as small as 15 minutes. Well, actually, you can start getting a result faster. People have started feeling a change in fewer minutes than that, but in the scientific studies, doses have ranged from 15 minutes to an hour-long session to 10-hour-long sessions, and have seen success in all ranges. Okay, and this is also interesting. What kind of settings has EFT tapping been beneficial in research studies? Basically all formats. There have been studies that have used it in person, in group settings, telephone sessions, self-administered, so after learning how to do it, just doing it on their own, just self-administered by themselves, online courses, in individual one-on-one counseling, and it was found to be helpful in all settings, and also including all teachers, that it didn't really matter who the teacher was, there were beneficial, similar results no matter what. So it's not like some administrators of EFT or some therapists are really gifted and that's why people are getting results. It didn't really matter who was teaching and administering the education or holding space for the session. So pretty cool. All right, so now let's go into 11 studies that have been done and the results that were found. So this first study is the study that this article is about. And they had 233 people in the study. They participated in 12 hours of a workshop. So some of the hours were training, learning about EFT tapping. Some of the hours were spent practicing it. And they measured for physical and emotional and psychological benefits. And this is what they found. They saw a significant decrease in anxiety, depression, PTSD, which is a big deal. Most places you look around will experience that PTSD is difficult to help and to improve. So it's all by that itself, that EFT tapping has been seeing big improvements in PTSD in research and studies is a really big deal, as well as anxiety and depression. Those are biggies. And pain. Pain is the next one. They saw significant decrease in pain, cravings, and an increase in state of happiness. To get more specific, a portion of those people were also measured physically and did psychological measures. And here are the results for that. It was a smaller portion of the people, I think 30 out of the 230, because they had different locations, and at one of the locations they were able to also do physical measurements. And 31 people. Here is what they found. Anxiety decreased by 40%. Depression decreased by 35%. Post-traumatic stress disorder symptoms decreased by 32%. Pain decreased by 57%. Cravings decreased by 74%. Happiness increased by 31%. And their immune system, they measured the immunoglobulin A, salivary immunoglobulin A, and it increased by 113%. So 12 hours of workshop time spread out either in like 2, 3, or 5 days. From the beginning to the end, their immunoglobulin A had increased by 113%. So immune system function increased. Also, there were significant improvements in their resting heart rate, a decrease of 8%. Cortisol level, decrease of 37%. That's a big deal. Cortisol and stress level in modern life is big. And having something at your literal fingertips that can decrease cortisol is a big deal. All right, their systolic blood pressure went down 6%. Diastolic blood pressure went down 8%. And there were positive trends observed in heart rate variability and heart rate coherence. And all these benefits, all these improvements didn't just go away after that week or after 2 weeks. They were maintained. So at the follow-up, they measured again, and all these benefits were maintained. woo woo, which is pretty common. You'll see in these other that the benefits that happen from EFT tapping tend to last. It's not just a momentary thing. It's not that they're just in a good mood, which, yes, okay. All right, next, moving on to the next study. This study was for anxiety, included 5,000 patients who were seeking treatment for anxiety across a 5.5-year period at 11 different clinics is where all this information was collected. Patients either received traditional anxiety treatment in the form of cognitive behavioral therapy with medication if needed. So some of them either got that or they got acupoint tapping and no medication. So they got EFT tapping. So there was an improvement found in both sides. The improvement for patients who had the tapping was 90% of the patients experienced improvement. For cognitive behavioral therapy, with or without medication, 63% of the patients experienced an improvement. And for the people to start noticing an improvement with the tapping, it only took 3 sessions to start before an individual's anxiety started reducing. On average, it took 15 CBT or cognitive behavioral therapy sessions to start showing results. And complete relief of symptoms was seen in 76% of the people in the tapping group and 51% of the people in the therapy group. Whoa, complete resolution of all symptoms. 3/4 of the people over here, boom, and half the people over here, which shows that both treatments had effect. But a year later, they assessed again, and 78% of the tapping group maintained their improvements. 69% of the cognitive behavioral group maintained their improvements. So, and this is seen in this study as well as other studies, that EFT tapping is equal to or superior in the results, at least in the scientific studies that have been done, and that the EFT tapping usually has a longer lasting effect. Pretty cool. These things are amazing. Just amazing. Okay, anxiety, depression, pain, and cravings. 116 healthcare workers did EFT tapping for 2 hours. I don't know how far apart those were spaced, but for 2 hours. And guess what the results were? Significant improvement in each of those symptoms, in all symptoms. And the improvements were maintained at the follow-up. And the decrease of symptoms, the symptoms going away, steeper decline for people who did more EFT tapping. So found in every symptom measured, and the improvements were maintained and improved faster and improved more, which is how EFT tapping works. The more you do it, if you don't get something resolved, keep doing more sessions, and you'll get more benefit of EFT till all the energy blocks you can clear with that have been cleared. Pretty cool. So food cravings, hey, physical pain, anxiety, and depression. All right, next study was on depression. This was actually a mix of 20 different studies. Included 859 people. So a lot of studies. And they found that EFT tapping was more efficacious than physical interventions like diaphragmatic breathing, as well as more efficacious than psychological interventions such as supportive interviews. Pretty cool. All right, next up was a study for depression on 8 students. Were given a brief group intervention, or the control group didn't receive anything. Those who received the EFT tapping have less depression, and in fact, their average depression score afterwards was not depressed. And the control group had no change because they had no intervention. So, college students who scored as depressed prior scored as not depressed afterwards, and it was just a brief, short intervention. It didn't say how many sessions or how long, but all right. Another study for depression included 10 patients diagnosed with major depressive disorder. They did 8 weeks of treatment, which was 16 hours. So that could either be 1 2-hour session or 2 1-hour sessions. They didn't say, but 6 hours over 8 weeks. Half of them did EFT tapping, and the other half did cognitive behavioral therapy. And both treatments produced significant reduction in depressive symptoms. The therapy is a significant reduction post-intervention, like right afterwards, but it was not maintained over time. And the EFT group showed significant reduction in symptoms, and at the 3-month and 6-month follow-up, the improvement was maintained. All right, next up, PTSD. A trial with 59 war veterans who were diagnosed with PTSD found a significant reduction in depressive symptoms after 6 1-hour EFT sessions. That's huge. A reduction in, so that one was were diagnosed with PTSD, but the results, or what they were measuring, was depressive symptoms was what got improved in this particular one. But 6 1-hour sessions. So EFT tapping can be self-administered. You can do it yourself. You could do that for the next 6 days. You can get 6 1-hour EFT sessions in on your own at home in the next 6 days. This is so powerful, for free, just on your own. Okay, next up was phobias. A group of people who had a phobia. Some of them received EFT tapping, and some of them received support. Since a supportive interview was singular, I'm assuming the EFT tapping session was one as well, but didn't specify. And the EFT tapping group showed a significant decrease in their fear of small animals immediately after the intervention, as well as almost 1.5 years later. They still had that significant reduction. The group that received a supportive interview did not show any improvement in their fear right after that interview or 1.5 years later when it was measured again. Okay, next study was about stress and cortisol. So cortisol is a major stress hormone that gets released. Okay, so there were people, I think it was about 83 people, but I don't have it in front of me, that were split into 3 different groups. A group who had EFT tapping, a group that just rested, and a group that had talk therapy. All 3 groups experienced a reduction in cortisol level, blood cortisol level. And the reduction for the people who had the talk therapy or rested was 14% reduction, which kind of would just show, since the resting group didn't have any intervention besides resting, that would kind of show the summary of that result of that study was assuming that that's just the average reduction of cortisol leaving the body with time passing. The people who did EFT tapping had a 24% reduction in stress in their cortisol level. So an extra 10% above what would just happen beyond resting. And interesting that the talk therapy and resting group had the same reduction in that physical marker. Which I just want to plug, being able to manually lower your cortisol level is a big deal. It's a big deal. And a 24% reduction from one EFT tapping session is a big deal. Plus, you could do another one right after if you want to. You can just keep going. Okay, last study, and this one, the last 2 studies, and this one is really interesting. This is epigenetics. So there was a group of veterans diagnosed with PTSD. They received 10 EFT sessions, and afterwards, what was found was regulation in 6 genes associated with inflammation and immunity. That is pretty cool. So their immune function and their anti-inflammatory function, I would say improved, and is going to be in a better state because those 6 genes associated with those markers had regulated. Woo woo. Okay, in a smaller group, they did 1 EFT tapping session, and some of them received the 1 session and some of them received a placebo. I doesn't say what that was, but holy cow, this is a huge list. Afterwards, they measured the gene expression again, and they found differential expression in 72 genes, including genes associated with suppression of cancer tumors, protection against ultraviolet radiation, regulation of type 2 diabetes insulin resistance, immunity from opportunistic infections, antiviral activity, synaptic connectivity between neurons, synthesis of both red and white blood cells, enhancement in male fertility, building white matter in the brain, metabolic regulation, neuroplasticity, reinforcement of cell membranes, and reduction of oxidative stress. That's all pretty nice stuff. And so this group of genes is similar to that found in the study above, where they saw the downregulation of inflammation and stress markers and upregulation of immune system function. Pretty cool, pretty cool. And what's even cooler about that is that all it requires is fingertips, mind, and intention, and everybody has access to that. It's not even, it's free. It's free. Everyone can do this. Okay, so those were the studies I'm going to share in this video. There are so many more. There's so many more. I'll probably do more videos. And also, so this all was from one website to make it easy for people to go research if they want to. That is in the link below, as well as two other websites. Research.eftuniverse.com, which has hundreds of testimonials of people's personal experiences and the things that they've experienced improvement with. And the second one is tappingsolutionfoundation.org, which also has a lot of info you can go check out if you're interested. So EFT tapping, pretty cool. Not every modality has had as much scientific research done and measured and reported. EFT tapping has, which makes it really fun to go see what results have been found. But you personally can utilize it and find out for yourself and hear from other people who have also done that. I personally have experienced a lot of benefit from it. I've witnessed really cool things. And I also I offer a group tapping space for support, an encouraging atmosphere where you can come and do your own practice, your own tapping, because the more you do it, the more you practice the skill, the muscle, the knowledge, and get familiar with how to do it, and then you'll be more likely to be able to whip that out in any moment. There's a lot more to know, or like lots of cool celebration we could do about EFT tapping, but I'm going to do that in a few other videos just to keep this video all about the research. All right, so you can check out the description if you want the website, what we talked about today. Those other two websites, which are really great resources I recommend, how to sign up for and when the next group EFT practice time is, and my YouTube EFT tapping playlist, as well as a tutorial video down there. You can go, if you haven't learned how to do EFT tapping yet, you can go learn how to do it right now and start enjoying it today. And I'll include, I am not an EFT practitioner. I am an energy healing practitioner, and one of my gifts is holding space. And I love to hold space for people who are doing their own healing work. So if you feel drawn to that, I would love to have you come join. That would be awesome. Regardless, cheers to the healing, growth, and transformation journey, and cheers to EFT tapping.